a scion of many worlds. Things had trailed off to being awkward after Lady Dawnbreak's proclamation and Emanuel's little response. He waits a full minute before saying anything else. "Is there anything else?" "What?" Lady Dawnbreak demands. "Do you have anything else to proclaim or declare?" Emanuel asks. "Come now, I thought rather highly of you once. You were doing all right until this little freak-out. Perhaps you can pull it back." "I'm not here for your approval," Lady Dawnbreak declares. "Then why are you here? To protect someone? Someone that is now hiding from you?" Emanuel asks. "I'm not hiding," Zava protests, and he glances back at her. "Someone sheltering behind me from you," Emanuel amends. Zava gives him a thump in the leg that he only vaguely feels, but he pats her on the shoulder in response. "Addressing your concerns, then. You seem to be of the belief that I have weakened Lacron or reduced its general knowledge base, despite my training up several new powerful squadrons for its armies, sharing enormous amounts of knowledge and opening fruitful planetary-scale trade routes. Also, the medical care." Horus calls from nearby, and Emanuel turns to see the gigantic man watching with an amused look on his face. "Right, and the medical care. And the upcoming famine you preemptively broke," the Arumenta woman with him calls out. "That as well," Emanuel states. "Didn't you also break the Slaver Empire?" Zava asks this time. "Well, I led the charge, but as with anything with an army involved, it was very much a team effort," he remarks. He's also the only person to ever set foot upon Lacron who managed to get a proper distress call out, saving our home world, saving us all. He brought back knowledge lost and resources beyond anything we could have extracted ourselves. Another voice snaps out, and everyone turns to see Iseran slithering up. No one says a thing as she slithers up to stand beside Emanuel. "Lord Skitterway, I understand you're technically on leave to rest and recover, but there is something I would like to speak with you about. This? Serpents have no place in Miru's affairs," Lady Dawnbreak protests. "Young one, you're not winning this or emerging looking good. Salvage your dignity and depart. For your own sake," Iseran states with a wave of one of her arms. "Horus told you I'm here, didn't he? I asked him where he was, and he said he'd get you," Iseran states. "Then he stated that you were here." "Ah, all right. Let me just finish dealing with this," and Emanuel begins before there's a thumping sound as Horus launches himself from where he's sitting, then lands next to him. "Nope. I may not be able to keep you in a bed, but the moment something becomes work, I'm going to be doing it instead. You're on break. So take a break already." "Oh, come on!" Emanuel protests before Horus moves, and Emanuel catches Zava. Horus is now standing between him and Lady Dawnbreak. "Go on. Talk with your friend and keep your daughter close. I got the idiots. Relax," Horus assures him, and there is the slightest distortion of Emanuel's fur that shows he's raising an eyebrow. Emanuel begins, but Horus grabs him around the shoulders and turns him around. "No, go. Spend time with your daughter. Talk with your suitor." "Mr. Blue," Iseran protests. "What?" Horus asks as Emanuel gives Iseran an interested look. "Oh, you. This way, please, Lord Skitterway. We need to speak." "We're not just going to let him walk off with Lady Zava, are we? One of the Arumenta guards begins, but Horus takes a step closer to the lot of them. "All right, ladies. I think we need to have a good long talk about exactly what the hell you think this is actually going to accomplish," Horus states as Emanuel gives him one last look and starts walking away from the crowd. Zava peeking over his shoulder, but making no protest to being carried around. "So, before I begin having a likely very important conversation with Iseran, is there anything you want to say or tell me, Zava?" Things weren't going to end well with me as a queen." "Were they?" Zava asks. "You weren't going to be a true queen. You were going to be a puppet queen, a figurehead to hide behind. I asked you before, and I ask you again now, can you recall anything you wanted to do that wasn't someone else's idea? I like Hark Pop, she says. From before I adopted you? Emanuel asks as he mentally tries to place Hark Pop. He has no idea what that is. And what is Hark Pop? It's a style of music from Planet Hark? Fair enough. But what about something from before we met? He asks, and she goes silent. No, that was Glimmer's idea, Zava states after a bit. Was it something you liked? Emanuel asks. Kind of. Do you even have a crossbow? She asks. No, but they're easy to make. If you want one, I can get it to you. You're giving your daughter weapons? Iseran asks. They're educational. Emanuel defends himself. She could hurt herself. Hey, Zava protests. Then she will learn an important lesson, Emanuel states. Really? That's your solution to... Was that a strange joke? Iseran asks, and Emanuel nods. Oh, that's a terrible sense of humor. It was a reference to the character Death. There was a character named Death. Where? And why would you quote a murderer? Iseran asks. Actually, the character is the living personification of death, as in the very thing that allows spirits to leave the body. I've had characters like that on the brain ever since that massive mess in the Slaver Empire, Emanuel states. So, what's death like? In reality, it's just letting go. In the book, he's curious and oddly compassionate, so much so that he not only adopted a child but is still watching over their adoptive grandchild. Really? Zava asks. Really? Wait, about which death are we talking about? The character or the action? The action. Oh, well, mine was instant, so it's probably one of the better ways to go. Emanuel replies. The realm beyond, I was able to perceive without any of my senses as I understood them, but my mind translated things to my normal senses. What was that like? Zava asks. Very, very strange. Go too far in and everything is shaped by your extremely limited understanding of things. Hey, Zava protests. It wasn't an insult, it's a fact. I can't fully understand where I was, but there is more there. I know there's more I didn't see, more I couldn't possibly understand, but I want to. Emanuel explains. Now, we've got some good distance from everyone. Is this a good place for us to have our conversation, Iseran? Well, I've been thinking about things, about the warning you gave me, how there is both great wealth and great danger approaching Lacron, how I have an indisputable power that can throw back a great deal of it. Not the exact words I used, but yes. Wait, what danger? Zava asks. More rescue is coming. The second and third wave will bring both wealth and those that follow that wealth. So Lacron will soon find itself drowning in idiots who think they're healthy and criminals of all stripes looking for an easy mark. Be it a Lacron native or a naive twit who came with more money than sense, Emanuel states. Someone who wants to hurt you generally is satisfied after causing a good chunk of damage and getting what they want. An idiot who thinks they're helping will destroy you and everything you've ever loved and keep at it because they're the hero. Yes, that's what I've been thinking about. You told me that as a primal Nagasha, I am an incredibly valuable woman that most of the galaxy will sit up and take notice of. Yes, the only primal Nagasha that don't shake whatever world they chose to slither on are the ones that make a point of living a quiet existence that doesn't make such moves, Emanuel says. And what about you? You're primal as well. You are just as big in the galaxy at large, Iseran says, and he nods. I am, however, I'm also the first. That's going to be fascinating to the point it's going to turn against me. Yes, I will be able to scare off a lot people with a few gentle words, but it's only a matter of time until we have entire armies of Urthani and scientists both showing up to study me or learn from me, Emanuel says before rubbing his chin. He also shifts Zava to sit on his shoulder and she sits comfortably on him, the floof having proven to have yet another use. So you're worried about getting drowned under things? I've already overheard numerous scientists speaking about experimenting on me and damn the consequences. The only thing stopping them is that I've been on board for most experiments anyways, and they know my mother will strap them to the outer hull of the ships and do a quick lap through the system, Emanuel states. Right. Well, what I'm getting at is, well, I've spoken to Magrica, to Lady Ilure, Lady Clarity, and now to you, Iseran says. Emanuel Skitterway, Jasper Blue, Martial Master of the Star Seekers, escaped treasure of the Grand Midwives, Conqueror of Nations, Slayer of Foes, Defier of Death, Reaver of the Undying, Soul Restorer, the Great Moth, the Grand Moth, he who flutters beyond death, he whom... That's more than enough for formality. The titles are beyond goofy, Emanuel says, and Iseran lets out a slight laugh while covering her mouth. You can and will defend Lacron as a great patriarch. I have long done what I could as a matriarch. I think it's only fitting that we join forces, don't you? Are you asking for my help or my hand? Do you even have hands? Zava asks. Why not both? Iseran asks. It's for the best, really. The strongest front is a unified one. Unified? But are we yet? I may be able to fold Greenstone and the Gold Lands into Miru, but the independent cities are likely to put up a fuss, not to mention Bright Dawn. The Jorga tribes are a relative unknown, but they know at least a little about me. But you also have the Urthani tribes. They're all but waiting to join whatever cause you champion. The Slaver Empire is shattered, and that will have the roaming marauders that plagued my children respect you, Iseran says before smiling. Not to mention the sheer impact of rescue finally arriving is having on the breakaway empire. Many of them are speaking of reunification. Really? That is a relief. How is their current empress taking it? Considering that I've offered to have her as the local lady beneath me, I think it could go either way, Iseran says. Wait, but that's every major group. That's all three Aramenta nations. The primary homes of Lyric and Foza, the Urthani and Jorgwa, as well as the Saramali, Metak, and Nagasha. That's all the peoples, Zava says, and Emanuel nods. It seems that we have a good chance to present a fairly united face. Emanuel notes as he gently grabs one of Iseran's hands and he kneels down and then brings it up to his mouth for a kiss. Very well then, let's get to work then. To work? We've rescued further survivors from the nest, are soon to get our hands on its black box to find the truth of things. Miru is settling more and more. Greenstone and the Gold Lands have been quiet, but I'll be taking a look at both soon. The world is coming together. Shall we continue? I think we shall. But how to announce this? Iseran asks. We'll find a way, Emanuel states. Why not a proper ceremony? Zava offers. Think about it. A gesture of supplication, an oath of protection coupled with a ceremony of unification for both the world and between you two? That will look good.